What's up guys, my name is Zero Heroes and welcome back to more Gates of Hell, and today we have some very exciting mods for you today. And as you know, I love to play with different mods that people upload to the workshop, and something I love about mods is when they add new vehicles or units to the game. And this particular mod has so many good and so many different vehicles to the game that I just had to share it with you today. So if you guys do want to play this mod for yourself, then I'll leave it down below. I believe it's called Thunder Wolf or something. Let me check. I can't believe I'm doing this. Hold on. Wonder Waff. And you do need, I believe, 2 other mods to play with it as well. So if you do want to play with this mod, then I'll leave it down below. But let me just quickly show you, before you quickly just download this mod, let me quickly show you what is in offer for you today. So, and by the way, no cheating, no cheats today. I promise you, that was in the last video. No cheating today. So let's get straight into this review and let's see what the Russians have to offer for us. So first, as you know, so with the unfortunately with this mod is that we have these vehicles which come in the different doctrines. So in the doctrines are basically different units you can go. So you can go the new one, which is a Lend-Lease program, which has the new, I believe, the new British kind of tanks in them, and then you got the Breakthrough, the Demolition, and the Shock Army. So we're going to go through them as quickly as we can, and then I'll show, and then you decide which doctrine you like and which vehicle best suits to them. So you guys let me know down in the comments. But without further ado, let's get started, which of course is the Lend-Lease program or Lend-Lease doctrine. So let's go. Okay guys, here we are. So we have our first one is we have to offer is the IS2U, and the IS2U 10 version 2. So this one here is the version 1 and this here is a version 2. Now these are basically, if they look familiar or you guys recognize these vehicles, or if you play World of Tanks, then this will definitely look familiar. And this, yes, that is right, this is the Chinese version of the IS-3, or the Chinese tried to make a version of the IS-3. So this is a version 1, and this one is with the 122mm DS or the D25-2, and it has the stock turret with armor going from roughly about 25 to 130 millimeters. You do see that there are some weak points, as you can see with here, like the front of this is actually, the turret I would say is still very strong for lowered vehicles, but when you're going up against different, in this mod, when you have mouses coming up against you, you stand absolutely no chance. The mouse will, or the E100 will definitely go through your turret armor very easily. And then, so that is version 1, which is the first version of it. And then we go on to version 2, which is the upgraded turret. And as you can see, that the upgraded turret is actually a lot more rounded. And as you can see, it's like less flat. As you can see, when you get the side of this, it's quite flat. But as you can see, this turret is more rounded. So that means your armor will definitely last long. And as you can see here, the armor is ranging from about 330 to 200. And the 200 being probably the mantlet of the turret right in front. As you can see, it does have some weak points at the top, but that doesn't really, it's not the same for like World Tanks. But as you can see, it's still, the hull armor is actually still alright. It is very, so it's like a V shape, like kind of like an IS-3, or when it's down the middle, it's kind of like a V shape, like an IS-3, like the Chinese try to do. So this, in World Tanks, it's called the 110. As you can see, it's actually in here called the 110. This is what the vehicles were actually called, but it's the IS, it's here, it's called the IS-2U or the 110. I like to call it the 110 because that's where I learned it from. So this is the Chinese version of the IS-3. Now, interestingly enough, I am actually able to show you the IS-3. Here it is. This is the IS-3 that's also been added in this mod. This is the fully upgraded version. It's the 122mm D-25-2. Now, I believe these are the same guns, but to be honest, I think the IS-3 version is slightly more powerful, because I believe in World of Tanks, this gun here is like only 175mm penetration, but of course the penetration in this game is much different to World of Tanks. So, but as you can see, you got that same V shape, as you can see, but this is, I would say this is definitely got more of the V shape than the IS-3. You can see this is the IS-3. It's got very much kind of like the it's very much kind of not as, you know, V-shaped as the 110s. So as you can see, but you've got kind of like these tracks, which I don't know if they add for armor as well. So this is ranging between 200 and 250. So it's not as good as the version 2 of the 110, but it's much better than the version 1 of the 110. So definitely a middle class, but definitely good up probably against your Tiger 1s and even your Tiger 2s if you go over against them. So a very, very nice vehicle. And you know, while we're here, and also I believe we do have a couple more vehicles to show off, but I'll show that at the end. So let's actually, because while I'm showing you this, I'm not showing you the actual firepower. I've showed you the firepower, I've showed you the armor, but I haven't yet, you know, showed you the sound of it. So let me show you the version 1 of this. So this is, I'm going to fire into this puddle here, and you're ready, I'll shut up. And 3, 2, 1. You know what? That definitely hits hard. That definitely, you can tell that definitely does hit hard. And you can see it is quite a long reload because it is that 122mm gun. It has a lot of machine guns on the front as well. So definitely be careful. But as you can see, very nice here. It's got your machine gun, your main machine gun at the top. I believe it does have machine gun here as well, but I don't know if that's actually implemented in the game. And I believe there's one at the back as well, which is really cool, which covers you. Again, with the 110 version 2, it's slightly different. Doesn't have that machine gun port at the front. It only has one machine gun, but as you can see, it definitely does still make the same sound. Damn, that is very sexy. Alright, now let's listen to the real Russians. These were the kind of the knockoff versions. Let's listen to the listen to the real Russians, where it does actually have that machine gunner at the top. And let's listen. Oh yeah, that is a laggy simulator and 1.5, but I tell you what, it is a very, very nice vehicle to work with. So yeah, there we go. That is the 110s and the IS-3 or the IS-3 I should say. So definitely very nice vehicles. I will show off the other vehicles in the next one. So let's move on to the next doctrine, and I will show you what we have to offer. Alright guys, so let me first start off with the T-44. So these are the things, these are in kind of like your main tank units. These aren't the special ones. So as well as I should have possibly showed it the IS-3 with the T-44s, but as you can see, you've got one which is the T-44, the regular T-44, and then you've got the T-44 100 LB1. So let me tell you, as you can see, you could probably already tell there's a difference. One is with side skirts, one is without side skirts. So that T100 LT is definitely going to be more beneficial in battle. But I guess I'll tell you what, the T-44 is probably still as good, or not even as competitive as the T-44. Now from looks at it, it looks completely stock. It looks like it's got that stock. It looks like it's kind of got the stock turret compared to the T-44 100, just because my knowledge in World of Tanks. But it's got a 100mm gun, which is, or sorry, oh, I was wrong. Sorry, it's an 85mm gun, which is the T-44 100 has a 100mm gun. So this T-44 is actually got a smaller gun, which is a 85mm. So that does actually give you less, or the caliber is less. So that will actually mean it's more difficult to penetrate targets in your T-44 100. But as you can see, let's still shoot it off and let's see how we go. Look at that. It's not as loud as the T-44 or as the you know, the bigger guns such as the IS-3 or stuff, but it's definitely got a better rate of fire. As you can see, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 7 seconds to reload. And look at that, it is pretty fast. And also, it can actually do pretty well. The turret isn't, again, this is probably the stock T-44 from based off knowledge, what I know. But as you can see, this is still very maneuverable and very fast tanks. Very good for taking maybe out your Panzer 3s and 4s as well. Definitely be good in battle, as well as you've got that one machine gun port, as you can see from the front of the turret, which is looking very nice. And you have one crew member sitting at the side. Now, let's move on to the T-44 100, and of course the 100 in the name means the 100mm. So that means your caliber is much higher, and you have more of a chance penetrating your target, such as you might want to even start aiming for your Tiger 1s even at the most. That means you, with the 85mm, sorry, with 100mm, I keep forgetting, that you'll be able to definitely penetrate your Tiger 1s, and possibly you might be stretching for your Tiger 2s, but don't push it. But the 85mm you'll struggle against Tiger 1s, but with 100mm you'll definitely be more advantage. And of course, listen to that, the caliber and the sound is higher. And of course, you do have the side skirts which do protect your track, so you are prevented from getting tracked as well. I don't know if these tracks are included as armor or side armor as well, or protected armor, or whatever it's called. I don't know if they count towards the kind of the armor layout of this tank, but as you can see, the turret is also better, with the armor ranging between 50 and 120 compared to, oh, it's actually the armor layout is the same between 50 and 120, but I can tell this vehicle, the turret is more, I could probably tell is more sturdy, the look of it compared to this, where this thing is, you know, it's got a giant weak point at the top, which I presume still is a weak point in the game, and also your turret is more flat and you know, and flat compared to this one, which is actually, it does kind of look flat as well, but you're definitely do have your weak point isn't as big compared to the T3485, or sorry, the T44 I should say. So definitely you get that good advantage there, and you're definitely going to be doing good with your mobility as well. And the Tiger 1 does, I believe, have 100mm of armor at the front, so you're going to be no problem penetrating the Tiger 1 with this tank as well. So as you can see, it does actually reload pretty quicker. It is a wee bit slower than your 85mm, but other than that, overall it is a great vehicle with a machine gun at the top as well. Unfortunately, the machine gun at the top here doesn't actually work, and yeah, as you can see, there's no machine gun point here. It does kind of look like it, but it's not actually there. So yeah, very Russian, very nice. And let's move on to the doctrine, which is the main event, which is the Object 268 and called St. John's Warts. Now this thing is, it does say, and now this thing is a lot more armored than your T44s. In World of Tanks, this is a tier 10 tank compared to the T44 and the T44 100, which are only tier 8s. But in this game, tiers doesn't matter. But as we know that this armor layout is so much better, as you've kind of got that diamond shape like the IS3s and the 110s again. But this thing carries a much higher caliber gun, 152mm. That is the same as a KV2. That is insane. But let's turn around and let's fire one of these massive 152mm shells off in 3, 2, 1. Listen to that. That is sexy. I expected it to be a wee bit louder, but as you can see, that the armor would probably hold out against your Tiger 1s even. Make sure you don't give it its side though, because the mobility is kind of crap at that. And watch out for this kind of weak point as well at the top, although I don't know if that count. Nah, this won't count as a weak point. Again, I'm too much thinking of it like World of Tanks, but it's not. But you do have that extra crew member as well, and it does have a machine gun at the front to protect you from troops, you know, as well, if it does try to flank you. So just watch out, because this thing doesn't have a turret, so make sure you are covering your flanks at all time, or you make sure you have another tank beside you or something like that to protect your sides. But listen to that, dude. Jesus, it is sexy as hell. You definitely do not want to mess with these tanks right here. These are the mother of all gods of tanks, so make sure, please, do not mess with any of these tanks, because it will mess up your day. Alright, so that is the, I believe, the breakthrough tanks, or the breakthrough doctrine. Let's look at the next one. So let's see. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, your next vehicle, this is called the Demolition One. And with this one, you get the IS-6. Now, the IS-6 is a similar version to the IS-3, but because the armor is, if you compare this to an IS-3, as you can see, the turret is more flat, as you can compare to an IS-3, where an IS-3 is, the turret is more rounded, so you are probably more easy to get penetrated. Yeah, because this has got, the IS-3's got 220 to 250 compared to the IS-6 only having 130 to 150. So as you can see, the actually shape of this is very different So you do have your kind of your slanted down shape, your hull kind of slight or at an angle, so the effective armor would be better. But you do have that lower plate, which makes it quite bad, as well as the IS3. But the bad thing is that you don't have the protective, you know, the tracks at the front, which do protect you, unlike this, where if you can actually get the side of this vehicle, which these two at the sides here, this bit and this bit here, are weak points, as well as the front as well. So if a Tiger 2 approaches you, you're definitely not good. Your Tiger 2 is definitely gonna go through you. Tiger 1 possibly, but it's gonna struggle. I think you should do fine against Tiger 1s. Definitely you'll do fine against Panzer 4s. Just be careful of large AT guns as well, maybe like the Flak 48 or the Flak 18. That'll definitely go through your tank, no problem, as well as the IS3. So definitely be careful. But I have to say, I do love the IS6. It's got very similar mobility with the IS3, but you still do have that machine gunner at the top as well. Oh, sorry, that is the IS3. But as you can see, you do have your machine guns in the turret as well, as you can see, and then at the side at the manlet, and then you've got your big disc HMG, which will definitely be able to deal with your infantry very easily. But let's listen to the gun as well. By the way, the gun is a 122mm D30T, so it's actually a slightly bigger gun than the IS3, I believe. I don't know if that's right. A lot of you would probably know. If you know about calibers and that, then let me know. But I believe this gun, the caliber is definitely different than this. As you can see, it possibly does even look like this is kind of like a shorter barrel. But let's listen to it and find out, see if it's just as loud as the IS3. Oh yes, it's definitely as loud as an IS3, I'll tell you that. It is something that I love about these 122mm guns, is that you can definitely make a boom with it. So that is the IS6, definitely a vehicle to contend with, but I would probably prefer an IS3 over an IS6. So definitely let me know what your thoughts on between these two vehicles. Do you prefer an IS3 or an IS6? So let me know down below. Alright, let's move on to the last doctrine, which we'll go into right now. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are into the last doctrine, which is called the Shock Army one. And this time you actually get two vehicles with the special one. So you get the IS-5 and you get the Object 260. Now, as you can see, so we've had the IS-3, we've had the IS-3, we've had the IS-6, and now we are moving back down to the IS-5, which has the same caliber of gun as the IS-3, and also I believe the, the 110s as well. So the IS-5, as you can see, if we compare this again to the IS-3, so if we compare the IS-5 compared to the IS-3, I know a lot of ISs, that as you can see that this turret is actually, I would probably say, slightly even better than your IS-3, because your IS-3 is rounded, but it's rounded very well, so it's rounded more circular, so you are easily to get penetrated from kind of like the side, whereas the IS-5, you've kind of got this circle oval shape, which does kind of give you a very good angle from kind of like from maybe 45 degrees angles, where you're able to bounce off this kind of sides here, compared to if you shoot like an IS-6 here, you're easily able to go through the sides. But whereas if you shoot the IS-5, I don't know, you're still it is harder to pen an IS-5 from the front. And I would definitely say this is definitely a vehicle that I personally love, and I would love in World of Tanks, which I don't have. But this has the same 122mm as the same as the IS-6 and the IS-3, or no, the IS-6 had a slightly bigger gun, but same as the IS-3. And as you can see, that the armor is kind of roughly the same, but as you can see, the shape is more acute, or it is more of a diamond shape like the 110. So as you can see, it does have that more of a shape like the 110, but the gun doesn't change. But you do have that machine gun at the front. As you can see, you have your machine gun at the front of the turret, and then you have your main one at the top as well from the gunner as well. So you can definitely protect yourself against infantry. And let's test out a gun, because the gun is always awesome to hear. Yes, and I love kind of like the firing thing coming out the sides of the tank as well, which is awesome. So that's what I really love about this. Of course, it is a heavy tank, so the mobility isn't going to be great. 40 miles per hour, which is actually, or 40, which is actually slightly better than the IS3, which only goes 37. So definitely slightly better. But again, I probably actually maybe choose the IS5 over the IS3, personally, in my opinion. Alright, now let's next go into the main vehicle, which is the Object 26. Now in World of Tanks, this is a tier 10. So this actually has the same caliber as the IS-7, 130 millimeters. Or I think, does the IS-7 have 130 or might be 127? Can't remember. But basically, this is a much higher caliber gun than your IS-3s, your IS-6s, your 110s. This is a 130 millimeter boomstick. And it is definitely going to go through your Tiger 1s and Tiger 2s very easily. Your mouses, you might struggle against the mouse, depends, maybe E100, but your caliber does definitely work well. Your turret, your armor goes up to 240, which does say slightly less than the IS-3, but I believe this thing is, as you can see, it's got that, again, you've got that V shape, but it does have a lot weaker lower plate compared to your IS-3, your IS-5. But this, the armor, I could tell would hold up better. Your turret armor does definitely hold up a lot better than your IS-3s, or your IS-6, or your 110s. I could just tell, look at this thing. It is going to be hard to penetrate this tank frontally. From the sides, you might have a chance. Your Rebel might be able to chance the under, just between the lower plate and the tracks, or sorry, the side plate and tracks. In the rear, it's very easy. But as you can see, the flat is very, you can see the flat of this turret is very flat, or sorry, flat of this turret. The turret of this tank, I should say, is very flat. So you'll be able to penetrate this very easily, the back of it. But compared to your IS-6s and your IS-5s, so just be aware of that. But I have to say, let's check out the gun and let's see how powerful it is. I think it's going to be a louder bang. Let's listen. Oh yes, it's louder, and as you can see, like the wee kind of cap popping up to see that a shell comes out. And of course, you do have your machine guns, one at the front of the turret and the other one at the front. So as you can see, the two machine guns are actually at the sides right here. So definitely a bunch of awesome vehicles for the Russians. So guys, that is going to be it for today. I hope you did like this video. Subscribe if you're new, and if you don't want me to cover the Germans, then let me know in the comments down below. But I'd say, which one of your, let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments which one is your favorite Russian vehicle. And thank you so much for watching and our support, and I will see you in the next video. See you later, and goodbye.